Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to another live. It's Friday, it's nearly the weekend, and it's nearly the Emirates Cup, and I'm here with Turkish.
What are you saying?
I'm good. How are you?
All good, man. It's Friday, can't complain.
Yeah, and we're up early. We've got some football to watch at the Emirates. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Last pre-season game before business really kicks in. That Palace game, next Friday kicks off next season. That's the one I'm waiting for.
Yeah, that is the one. And listen, it shouldn't matter whether you play Sunday at 12 or Friday at 8 or whatever, but there's something about it being a Selhurst Park game in the evening that I just keep thinking, the Sky cameras are all on us, and it's just like, do you know what I mean? It just feels like there's so much weight around this because as well, the way we started the season before, again, away, London club, Brentford back in the Premier League, all that, and it was a case of, okay, let's see where Arsenal's big spending has taken them. And this is a chance to listen. The chance to bounce back from Brentford was all of last season, but it mirrors it a little bit, doesn't it? There's an opportunity to say, a year on, we've dealt with this occasion better.
Yeah, listen, it's not just last season we didn't start the season well. It's been a good few seasons. The better question is, when was the last time we actually started the season well?
Yeah.
And I like playing first.
Okay.
If you play first, all eyes are on you. Send a message.
Sure.
The past few seasons, especially last season, we sent the wrong message.
Yeah, we're not sending many messages
but
at the moment.
Listen, next Friday it's a chance to send a message to the, not necessarily the rest of the league, but the ones in and around the big six, maybe the Leicesters and the Aston Villas, whoever's trying to break into that, and say Arsenal are really headed into the right direction, because there's still question marks over it. Last season, there was some progress there, but finishing fifth kind of quelled the fire a little bit.
Sure.
Listen, all we can do is forget about it and focus on that one Palace game. Go ahead, handle them like we handled Chelsea last week, and the rest of the league will be, asking more questions than having found answers with Arsenal.
Yeah, and actually, I hear everything you're saying, and believe it or not, we work together in the same office. I spent an 8-hour freezing flight with you, and this question never once came up. Actually, how have you felt about Arsenal's pre-season? Because I understand, it's their practice games. What did I think Arteta described them as test matches, and even he himself said, let's not get carried away. But how have you been feeling about the way Arsenal have prepared?
I don't take too much from pre-seasons. I said it a couple of days ago. You can have a great pre-season and a poor season. You can have a poor pre-season and a great season. So you can't take too much from it, but for Arsenal, this pre-season, it's seeing Jesus. And for me, listen, I like Jesus at Manchester City, but I've liked him even more seeing him at Arsenal and seeing the extra responsibility and how he's taken it on, head on. Obviously, it's only pre-season, and we want to see that against Palace and Leicester and Bournemouth and whoever else we got. But it's nice to see a new player coming in, and listen, he could be the next star for us. And it's been a little while since we've said something like that about an incoming. Yeah, and then you have Zinchenko, who came in against Chelsea, which, he had a good first game for us pre-season. Yes, we haven't seen Vieira yet. So I guess I've enjoyed this pre-season more than any other, more recent pre-seasons. But at the same time, I'm not going to take anything from it like I haven't taken anything from the previous.
Yeah, I think that word "enjoy" is the one. I've actually really enjoyed watching Arsenal for the majority of pre-season. Okay, Nuremberg are who they are, with all due respect, but from 2-0 down, some of the big guns come on, turn it around for us. All the Everton and Chelsea games in particular, when we started with the team we expect to start more regularly in the league, to see them look really dominant against those two sides. And people could say, yeah, but only pre-season or whatever. Sure, but then what does that say about where Chelsea and Everton are in their pre-season and their squads that have had plenty of investment over the years as well? So I think Arsenal are definitely looking sharp. On to today's main topic.
And it did help that we was in Orlando.
Yeah,
because we was there, we saw the vibe, we saw the support, we saw the love. So to end it with a 4-0 against Chelsea, it was the perfect ending. So I'm still kind of riding that wave. Big up America again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, they do have the Emirates Cup tomorrow. It's Sevilla. It's funny, I think, am I right in thinking there was one Emirates Cup? I can't remember if they played it or not. Or maybe if it was ruined by the pandemic. There was meant to be one, or there was one, where they were going to play a men's game, then a women's game, or maybe the other way around. And then before that, they were looking at, not looking at, for many years actually, probably a good 7-8 years, they played a Saturday and a Sunday game. And a preview, spoiler, coming out with Robbie and I later today. One of the things we discussed was how maybe the Emirates Cup, because of the nature of the competition being played over 2 days, it was more like a golf competition. You know, you had the situation where players were being rotated and mixed around the week before, you know, the real season started. And actually, because it's just one game, it's a chance for Arsenal to just, right, this is the best team, get a good 90 minutes, boom, you're ready for next week.
100%. It's like, obviously, we're used to the whole 2 games, like a semi-final and a final. It is what it is. It's one game against Sevilla, and like you said, it's 6 days before our first game of the season. It's perfect timing to play your strongest team, get them used to, get them going, get them fit, get them the chemistry going, and all of that. And yeah, be fully prepared for that Crystal Palace game.
I'm having a look at, as I'm research on the spot because I'm nice and prepared. I remember when they used to do 4 teams. I'm just having a little look. Emirates Cup, of course, there's a Wikipedia page. Here we go. I remember they used to have. Here we go. Here's some of the teams that I'll be honest. As a kid, and please remember, I was a kid. Okay, I know what people are like. They look at me now and go, "I can't believe you got it." I was a child, but I used to love. Right, here are some of the teams that I played. 2007, PSG, Valencia, Inter Milan. 2008, Hamburg, Real Madrid, Juventus. They're actually letting us know where we finished. God, we've not won many of these, have we? Rangers, Atletico, PSG, Lyon, Celtic, Milan, New York Red Bulls, Boca Juniors, Porto, Galatasaray, Monaco, Napoli, Benfica, Wolfsburg, Leipzig. You know, there was some good teams. It was kind of fun. I remember that Real Madrid game when we played them. I think Adebayor scored a penalty and Jack Wilshere dropped a shoulder, went around Sergio Ramos, and I thought, okay, we've got a player here. So they were fun occasions. I used to really enjoy the weekend just for watching Arsenal at home and watching them against good sides. Yeah,
I mean, the early ones definitely, because the earlier ones were very close to the good times.
Right,
as the good times got further and further away, these kind of dragged for me a bit more, and I just wanted to see the season, not necessarily all the antics around it. But you are right, we played a fair few good teams in there. I remember that New York Red Bulls one. That's when Henry came back.
Did he not score? I think they beat us.
Yeah, I think they did.
I think Carl Bartley scored an own goal. Don't ask me how I remember that kind of stuff. I might be wrong. You let me know in the comments. I'm having a look at the all-time winners. We've won it more than any other team.
We're massive.
Wow, look at that. That and the FA Cup. And it's now the Emirates FA Cup now, isn't it? So there you go. What if that ever... Anyway. So yeah, listen, I used to enjoy the Emirates Cup, and I think it's the one thing I will say, for the sake of preparation, I've seen Chelsea have just flown out to Italy after coming back from Orlando. They're playing against Udinese away. I think Liverpool recently played Salzburg. I have a feeling that was away from home. All I'm saying is I really like the idea of travel to Germany, do your main tour, be back in the country a good 10 days before the start of the season, just to get acclimatised again, get settled, get sorted, play your football behind closed doors or in front of your home crowd. I think, for me, logically, based on absolutely no experience or science or data or anything, it sounds like sensible prep.
It makes more sense,
yeah, absolutely. Ryan says Timo in that third kit would be a good look. So we may as well get into the into some of your comments, but also this main conversation about Timo Werner. Very quickly, the third kit is out. I know you don't want to love merch and all, but away from that, the kit's nice, and they're wearing it with navy shorts, which I'm really happy about, because some of the leaks, clearly some of them were false, had the players in pink shorts. And actually, I think the actual marketing, they were in pink trackies or pink trousers.
I can't remember. When I see marketing, I turn off. So I don't think I've seen much of it.
Fair enough. They're going to wear a navy shorts. They're actually going to wear it tomorrow in the Sevilla Emirates Cup game. But yeah, it's nice. Adidas have delivered again.
Don't get me wrong. They're nice kits. The black and gold or whatever it is, bronze, nice kit. The salmon or the pink or whatever people want to call it. It's a nice kit. The home one's a nice kit. Let's have a nice season.
Yeah.
How about that?
But you know what it is? It does play a part, because remember when we won the FA Cup in 2020 and we wore the kind of zigzag shirt and the Always 14. So I bought the Always 14. I bought the Always Forward shirt with 14 on the back. I thought, gotta get this. This is winning the FA Cup in 2020, and it was such a rough year for so many people for many, many reasons. And I thought, just get this shirt, because it was a good moment. And that season, I now don't look at that shirt. Not the always forward bit in particular, just that kit. When I see it, just reminds me of a horrible season. I remember tweeting about it, and everyone was like, "Which one of these kits reminds you of a good season?" I was like, "Okay, fair point." But that one in particular, I just remember feeling so low as an Arsenal fan during all that.
Yeah, I've got the same kit. But listen, kits mean more when you win something in it. 100%. Kits don't mean anything unless you achieve something in it, unless it reminds you of good times, whether that's a young player coming through or an FA Cup win or a Champions League or Premier League title. Obviously, I'm going way back with some of the Arsenal kits there. As you can see in Orlando, I wore a couple of those famous kits.
Yeah.
But kits don't really mean anything unless you achieve something in it or you have great players that wear the shirt. So listen, nice kits. Achieved something this season and you know they're worth a lot more, and by worth a lot more I don't mean financially. I mean, look, I've got a lot of kits that when my son grows old enough, there's stories behind those kits. You know, not all of them are great winning stories because we didn't win in all those kits in the 90s and early 2000s, but there's great players, there's great moments in those kits, and I can reflect back to those moments when I'm going through the shirts because all my shirts are for him. So when I'm explaining to him, listen, this shirt, this player wore this when he scored this at Old Trafford, or when we won the league here at White Hart Lane, or whatever it is, there's stories behind the shirts, and that's when it really means something to me. Hence why from about 2007, I think it was, that's when I just stopped caring about shirts.
Really?
2008.
Wow.
It was quite early, yeah. We still had players like Fabregas and Arshavin, and we still had good players around those times, but yeah, I kind of slowly but surely got put off the rise in prices. Listen, I'm used to home kits lasting 2-3 seasons.
Right.
In and around that time, home kits started being changed around every single season. I think you said to me upstairs, Brentford have kept the same home kit. I like that.
Have, yeah.
I think a home kit should be 2-3 years minimum. And then change around the away kit, change around the third kit, fine. Even though back in the day, you'd have a home, you'd have an away. More often than not, you'd keep the same home. The away one would turn into your third shirt the next season, and then you'd have a new away. I preferred that because, listen, money's tight for a lot of people across the world. So continually releasing kits for me doesn't really help, you know.
I get what you're saying.
Because now no one wants to really be wearing last season's kit or the season before's that. But if we achieve things in these kits that you could wear them any day, any time, any year, it would still show something, and you could be proud wearing it.
To be fair, I see exactly what you're saying, and Brentford were met with a lot of praise from their fans actually when they made that decision. I think from Arsenal's perspective and a business perspective, I can understand why go with what everyone else is doing, release a kit every year, and also it's a new season, it's a different style. You know, I get that. But yeah, anyway, ultimately they're just kits, but you're right. You know, when you achieve something in them, they mean a lot.
It's not just kits. It's much more than. Like I said, look, I'm going to explain my stories to my son off the back of those kits.
Yeah.
So there's stories behind some of these kits. There's just not much stories behind our recent kits.
Yeah, I hear you say. See, I get them just because I like them.
Yeah, and a lot of people do.
And I'll be really honest. We went through a period, kind of maybe 5-6 years ago. I probably didn't buy an Arsenal actual kit for about 5-6 years because I didn't like them that much. What I did was get training tops or other Arsenal stuff to show my support. So a lot of it for me is just, do I like it? Yeah, and unfortunately that's failing to release anything I don't really like at the moment.
And listen, people know I'm a tracksuit man. The amount of times I wear tracksuits on this channel, and Arsenal release some nice tracksuits from Adidas, Puma, Nike. I'd love to confidently go into a store and spend my money knowing that it's going to the right areas, the right places, knowing that this club is supporting us fans as much as we support them. But I can't yet. Until I really want Kroenke to prove me wrong and this club to prove me wrong, so I can start again, because I love a lot of the merchandise and the colour. Even though some of like black and bronze and pink or salmon, that's just fashion. It's nothing to do with Arsenal's history.
Sure, okay.
They look good. They look good, and if you create history in that shirt, then it becomes a part of Arsenal's history. You know?
In 30 years' time, the salmon returns. And
remember we won that in the salmon shirt. We won that in the black and gold shirt. Then it becomes a part of our history. Right now, it's just another fashion piece.
Well, speaking of the money going to good use and bringing back the glory days, Timo Werner.
Oh shit.
Well, listen. Let's be upfront with the comment section right now. The links are pretty loose from what I've seen but there have been links, and it sparks conversation. And I think it might be an injury, or for whatever reason he's been left out of Chelsea's squad that travelled today to Italy. Chelsea fans, if you're in the comment, do confirm that's absolutely factually true. But listen, it does sound like his future isn't at Chelsea. And I'm not even here to... Robbie was really on the wind-up today.
Yeah,
he was thinking of titles. Yeah, I'll go with this one, and why Turkish up? But I do want to ask, because he's a player that... let's just say you don't tear him down like a lot of football social media has. I think there's a good player in there. I just think it's really not been a fit for Chelsea. I don't think he looked good the other day at all when we watched him in the flesh against Arsenal. But he's been linked. I mean, if push comes to shove and we're still looking for some depth in that front three, is he someone you'd consider?
Listen, where did this start with me and Werner? It started, I think, some point in January. Was it February, March? We sat down.
It was a while ago.
Me and Robbie, we discussed options for, the striker position, because at that time we all wanted 2 strikers to come in the summer. Yeah. And I think Werner was 7th, 8th on a list of 10 to 12 that I put in. And then it's just somehow that bit got clipped. And then I've been painted with the Werner brush ever since. Like you said, when I saw Werner the other day against us, and it is pre-season, yeah, he looked terrible, to say the least. But at the same time, Chelsea, under Tuchel, how many of their stars have looked good? How many of the stars have looked great? Even down to a Havertz, a Lukaku. I don't think their attacking players have really been crowded in glory over the last couple of years. Yeah. So it's not just Werner that's underperformed. There's a few: Pulisic, Havertz, Lukaku. I guess only Mason Mount in spurts has probably been the most consistent. And I guess with him, the expectation was, minimal in comparison to Werner, to Havertz, to Lukaku. And let's not forget, it wasn't that long ago that Klopp and Liverpool wanted Werner. And the whole world lauds Liverpool for their business. So surely there was or is a player in there. It might be was now. Maybe this last couple of years has taken its toll on him, confidence-wise, ability-wise. Maybe he's questioning himself. But there was a time Liverpool were interested. And that was only a couple of years back. So, when I mentioned him, it was on a list of 10 to 12. It wasn't me saying, go out and get Werner. But do I think Werner's a good player? I do. I think, listen... We've all seen his finishing is up for question, to say the least. But he creates chances. He gets about. He's fluid. His movement is, one of the best, in my opinion, in terms of that, attacking position. So, depending on the price, it's interesting. Yeah, interesting is a word, because I wouldn't... Alone wouldn't feel... Let's say he came to Arsenal, did quite well, and then he's back to Chelsea. I don't want to be doing them any favours. Yeah. And then also, what does it say about the way Chelsea view us if they're happy to loan a player to us? You have him for the season, it's all right. So, it's definitely a weird one. Listen, I think he's going to leave Chelsea before the end of the window. I do. I think Chelsea... I don't think hit the panic button's quite the way to say it, but I do think they're going to pick things up, and they'll be saying, listen, we need players through the door now, because there's still quite a few want to leave. I think Timo Werner might be one of them. Didn't we all want Ziyech not long ago when he left Ajax? And then look what Chelsea have done to him since. You know? So I think what attacking player has worked for Chelsea in the last 2 years?
Let's be honest, right? We were playing very well in that FA Cup final, but there's one Chelsea player who was absolutely scaring the life out of us. It was Christian Pulisic. Till that hamstring injury, he's not quite looked the same since then. So I know what you mean about Chelsea attackers. I'm also very wary, and I've said this so many times over the last couple of weeks. I don't know why. It's a point I keep making, so apologies for boring everyone, but we are so quick to confuse form with their actual quality and ability and their level. And I just think you're right. Like, look at the way he was kind of talked about not that long ago. But I don't know. If it were me personally, I think there's other options out there I'd rather go for.
Listen, when I said it, when I said it, at the point I said it, what I said about Werner in February, and amongst other names, I looked at Arsenal differently then to how I look at Arsenal now. At that time, I thought, we have to be shrewd, and we have to kind of take what we were given, and we might have to bite the bullet a few times and whatnot. But then, when you start a summer, or you go into the summer and Jesus comes in, Zinchenko comes in, Vieira, for me, we haven't seen him yet, but it looks like a good signing from what we've heard. Saliba's come back and he's integrated well. All of a sudden, couple that up with Man United being a mess, Chelsea being in a bit of a mess. I look at Arsenal differently now, because we don't necessarily have to take the the baggage of other clubs in and around us, and people might then turn and say Jesus and Zinchenko was baggage. But at the same time, I look at them a bit differently. It's not like they underperformed at Manchester City. They performed to a level where they want more game time, they want more responsibility, and Man City can't give them that. With Werner, it's very different.
Yeah.
So, you know, I look at it a bit differently now. Push comes to shove, I think we can get better. Especially when you're linked to a Rafinha, and Edu has talked about Rafinha. I know that they're different wings and different types of players, but in February I didn't think we could go in for this type of a player and so
Rafinha,
on.
you mean?
Yeah, Rafinha.
Sure.
Even Jesus, for example, I didn't think we'd be in for that.
Hey, when we didn't get top 4, I thought the Jesus thing was done, and I remember saying on the show, I said that it's a shame, because I really thought if we got top 4 Champions League, he'd have been up for that, but clearly we sold him something.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he wanted to come, which is great. Shreya says, greetings from Seattle, big up you guys, and come on you Gunners. Thank you so much for the support. What's everyone saying on the poll? So 57% saying no, 43 yes. Is that tighter than you thought it'd be?
It is. From the reaction I got to say it in February, it definitely is tighter than I thought it was going to be. I thought it would have been a landslide no. But at the same time, listen, like we said, not so long ago there was a player in there. Maybe this last couple of years has taken its toll, and maybe that player is long gone now, history. But who knows, isn't it? Maybe the next club he goes to, he picks up that form again, similar to what Lukaku might do over at Inter Milan. You know, yes, people can argue it's a different league, but sometimes different systems and different managers can help a player as much as a different league can help a player. And I just look at Tuchel and I think, so far, Chelsea look quite stiff under Tuchel's management. And that's not a dig. I just mean when you look at Klopp and Liverpool, you look at Pep and City, they're fluid in very different ways. They're different types of systems, different types of managers and philosophies, but they're fluid. Tuchel, for me, is, you know, his team looks very stiff. And I don't think, you know, the signing of 2-3 centre-backs this summer is going to help that stiffness, but it'll be interesting to see what he has planned over there. Because with only Raheem Sterling coming in, it looks like, has he gone yet, or is he on the verge of going?
Well, he was close to AC Milan, wasn't he? But then he came on in the Orlando game.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. So for me,
shows you how difficult it is to move players on, because they used to be really good at it, Chelsea.
Yeah, they did their loan system and all that, but I think that's faded over the last few years. But listen, Werner, I think there's still a player in there. Is it the right time to take a risk on such now where we are? Probably not. We could probably find a better player there, you know, a Diaby. What was the Sociedad guy, or Yatabal? I think there's other options that I'll entertain on that side more than Werner. And don't get me wrong, when I mentioned Werner in February, it was more for a backup striker than a winger, or you know, a Martinelli upgrade, replacement, backup, whatever people see it as. So I think we can do better, but there is a player in there.
Yep. Dev says Turkish has manifested these Werner links into reality.
Listen, if it happens, don't blame me, people. Don't blame me. Just fingers crossed, hope he bangs, and that's it.
People will. They'll come on this channel. They'll go. Look what you've done, Turkish.
You know, met Edu once, and you fucking.
You've made this happen. That's what they'll say. Listen, Dev. Just in relation to the second half of your super chat, just going to say this now. I'm going to say it once, and we have actually mentioned this in a previous show. Obviously, a lot of stuff was sort of going around on social media yesterday. We're not going to comment on it. We're not going to obviously be speculating. So all we'd be doing is speculating. We're not going to be doing that with what is a very, very serious situation. So, yeah, just going to leave it there. Thank you for your super chat. But I just want to get that out there now. We're here to talk about the football, because Arsenal are playing and the season's coming up. So let's go through what everyone else is saying. Kudaveli says, do I need to print the ticket to get in tomorrow?
I don't think so.
I don't know, no, because I've been able to get in scanning off my phone.
Yeah, you can scan off your phone. But listen, sometimes extra security, I do print, not necessarily Emirates tickets, but if it's a concert or if it's something else, it's a backup. If your phone ain't scanning, then have a little bit of paper with you just to scan that. Yeah,
agreed. Alpha Tone says, James is a plant. I don't know if I've ever had a comment like that. Okay, thank you. I don't really. I mean, yeah, sure. Abdullah says, "What do you think you mean by that?"
I think he means Cronke's planted you on the channel to fucking talk rubbish.
Oh, I took it so literally.
You thought he meant you're a palm tree or something,
like photosynthesis and stuff. I thought, I took it as like a like a cactus. Abdullah said it many times, no urgency for a right winger. Werner is a risk. Gabriel Jesus, Pepe, Marquinhos and even Vieira can cover at right wing. Well, that is one thing I have been thinking about that. Okay.
Werner's left wing, though, if he's going to play wing.
Yeah, very true. Well, that's definitely true. But
Yeah.
also you've got, I guess, if Nketiah hits good form, Jesus can play right. We don't know. Marquinhos is such an unknown quantity. We're hearing Reece Nelson's going to get given a chance, so we'll go back to that. But Vieira, we bought for 34 million. He could play wide. So I know I'm coming round to the idea that it's not as desperate as I thought it was. But I also think, come on, Arsenal, we're on a roll this window. We've got this real opportunity. And I'm with you. I have doubts over what we're going to get from United and Chelsea this season. Don't squander this opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Rafinha is believed to be available, just like Vlahovic, is what Abdullah says. Ethereal says Eddie looks sharper, has more potential, and loves the club more than Werner. If we get him, big disrespect. I don't think one would play over the other. Werner, for me, is a runner in behind, movement, and actually, call me crazy, Arteta has a history of working well with wide players and wide forwards. Maybe he'd get something out of him. I don't think Eddie's being nurtured or trained in that way.
Yeah, listen, the fluid systems suit wingers that, have good movement and timing into the box. And I think, listen, as poor as Werner has been over the years, in terms of finishing, his movement and getting in the box can't be questioned. He creates chances, he creates problems. He just hasn't finished his dinner much.
Yeah.
And that's been the problem. But, when you have a variety of options, some that can finish their dinner and some that can't, you're in a position where you work. Like when Jesus drops, for example, you need one of your wingers to be, good enough.
Yeah.
And Saka, for me, isn't that winger. Saka likes to stay outside of the box and kind of edge into it with the ball, ideally. Martinelli is that type that will kind of get into the box without the ball and look to get on the end of things. Emil isn't, who is probably Martinelli's backup on that side. Listen, Werner, for me, good player, good option to have.
Yeah.
Someone asked, I think it was a super chat, so you might actually be going through.
Okay, I am getting to them.
Yeah,
Let's see. But Abdullah, he's put ... So I think it's following on from his last point. Says that striker's more important. Okay, fair enough. He was saying that the right wing isn't a necessity. Only 2 strikers is risky. If Jesus gets injured, we only have a young Nketiah 14. Yeah, Nketiah, he's saying. Centre mid is a priority and a forward should be a third striker. Yeah, listen, I get that. Like, I think a central midfield is a priority, and I think someone who can play across the front three. I prefer a wide forward, but if it's another striker and Jesus can play a wide, I get it. Like, either way, you're solving the issue of depth and you're giving different problems. So I think that's good.
All I know is, listen, who's our backup striker now? Eddie. Eddie also kind of gets played on the left wing. In my opinion, Werner's better than him in both positions. So, in my opinion, it still will be an upgrade on what we have, but I think we can do better.
Yeah, Tom says, hi from Montreal team. I remember how De Bruyne was at Chelsea before joining City. Could be the same with Werner, even if KDB has a 4... Werner in his right foot. Okay, I don't get that last sentence, Tom. But the point being, De Bruyne. Yeah, listen. A lot of players have left Chelsea and benefited from it. But also a lot of players have gone to Chelsea with a lot of hype and not made it, and then not made it after, or have made it. And there's a reason Chelsea have won a lot of trophies over, many years. So yeah, it's always a little bit of a lottery. I mean, I'm worried to go, oh, well, it didn't work for De Bruyne at Chelsea, so it must be just their problem. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Would you swap Nicolas Pepe for Timo Werner?
That's the question that I was going to ask.
That's what Freducia is asking.
I would, 100%.
Yeah, I would.
Just because I'm done with Pepe, then I want Werner.
Sure.
But
my thing is, I'll be honest, mine's very much a grass is greener type thing. Just and not, it's not. What's the saying? The grass isn't always greener. I know, but I'd go have a look at that grass.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Silver Taco says, greeting from Seattle. Make Turkish play right wing. He says, right wing. Do you fancy it?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm both footed.
There you go.
I'm not a runner though, actually. No, so in modern day, you ain't getting me running. I'll be on the pitch like Ozil, just walking around.
Dave Jordan's asking for Fraser says, Fraser, Timo Werner, Pepe. is some people's dream team. I mean, but isn't it so funny how opinions on players can change so much so quickly?
Yeah.
I remember that summer when we had Emery and we were linked to Ryan Fraser, and let's not joke, right? He tore it up for Bournemouth.
Yeah, he did, him and Wilson.
Yeah, and then the move never came, and it's kind of been downhill since. Remember Timo Werner's reputation as well. You know, there'd been Pepe when we signed him. You know, those are the three mentioned there. But it changes so quickly, which is why I also say just have the handbrake on a little bit with sometimes how we're looking at our players or our team or whatever. I don't know. Sometimes people are just so quick to just launch themselves into big opinions about certain players.
That's why this summer in particular, I said, listen, whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna do. It's the third year of the process. It has to work now. So you know, we can all want Tom, Dick, and Harry. They might not sign Tom, Dick, and Harry. They might sign someone else. It is what it is. You know, we just have to ensure it works this season.
Yeah. Rai says, Turkish and James, big up yourselves. Hope you both had a good summer and your Orlando holiday was wicked. But Turkish, I'm disappointed. Timo Werner, you know, we've got to stay away from the Chelsea leftovers.
Big up Ryan, man. Listen, like I said, at this moment in time, you'd probably call all the attackers leftovers then, because, you know, none of them have really achieved the greatness or the level that anyone thought. And that falls for Havertz too, who's probably been the best of the lot.
Yeah.
But he has been nowhere near what people thought he would be. So I just look at their attack in general, and no one's come at the other end in good light. Look at that game against us in Orlando. Yes, Werner played poor, but Sterling was poor as well.
Yeah.
And if that's an indication of how it's going to be at Chelsea for Sterling, then kind of that's part and parcel proves my point in terms of Tuchel and his management style maybe not suiting wingers with great movement that get in the box at the right times.
Yeah, Brandon says, Werner, what a joke. So he's not impressed. I mean, let's have a look at the vote. 2,000 votes. 57-43. Now, call me crazy, okay? That tells me that no one is completely laughing off this idea. You know, people... Not no one. The majority aren't going, no, forget it.
Yeah.
There are some people going, you know what? Yeah, maybe there's something.
We're talking about a backup here.
Yeah.
You know, when I said it in February, a lot of people, especially on Twitter, my haters out there, they've acted like I said for the first team. No, I'm talking about a backup here.
Yeah.
I'm talking about depth. I'm talking about an option.
Also, he's someone who has led the line before. Anyway, let's fly through these super chats because we've got some other stuff to talk about as well and other comments as well. Rice says, do we feel we are 2-3 midfielders shorter? Do we feel we are 2-3 midfielders short and another centre forward to be really confident this season? I think Tielemans is a priority, especially as everyone is now really convincing me that Zinchenko ain't here to play in midfield.
Well, you're starting to sway.
But there was a comment that came out that he said, Arteta's told me that, you know, I could play left back, but there might be opportunities in midfield, something like that. But we'll see. Like something I don't know. Listen, go find the quote.
Vague.
Yeah, it was vague. Sonny says we need another assisting central midfielder. Vieira the only option. Well, but then you've got Odegaard, Smith Rowe can play there. I would like someone who can be creative.
Yeah, I think we need a box-to-box guy in there.
Yeah. Miles says, all this talk of wide attacking players, where does Smith Rowe fit into all this? That's a really good question from Miles, because, you know, we talked about it towards the end of yesterday's show, Robbie and I, we were saying, you know, that's the issue when you've got a couple injuries, and they're not particularly big ones, but you miss a bit of pre-season, you miss some of the tour, you miss all that. And he has done nothing wrong on the pitch, absolutely nothing. The guy's really young, he's allowed to be injured, the poor guy. But you can't, it's subconscious almost what's at the forefront of your mind when you're talking about Arsenal and players and options. When you see Nketiah look quite sharp, Martinelli look really good against Chelsea, Fabio Vieira come in, you know, Smith Rowe just slowly falls behind the pecking order a little bit through no fault of his own. But we want to see him. I mean, I really want to see him get minutes tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's really important for him. He doesn't want to get his first real minutes in the Premier League.
Yeah, I still see him as Martinelli's backup on that left wing. And I don't see him as a backup that's far off, because Martinelli has to kick on this season. Because, listen, Emil's productivity, both starting and off the bench last season, was, in my opinion, top-notch for the expectation. If he can do anything like that this season, then he's an asset for us. He brings something. It just doesn't seem like he's Arteta's man for a starting position. I think he's been, utilised centrally, number 10-ish. Hasn't really, kicked on there, utilised from the left. For Arteta, he's kind of picked Martinelli. So for me, he's not Arteta's guy for a starting 11 spot. But in terms of depth, now there's 5 sub rule. There's still a big part for him to play, and hopefully he remains happy enough with that role.
Yeah.
Because Emil can go to another club and start. And I don't mean another big club and start, but he can go to at least 8 to 10 other Premier League clubs and start and play consistently.
I think if he finds form, he can start in this Arsenal team. I just think I want to see him get a bit of a run and remind everyone what they can do. And that's why I think, listen, oh my God, I wish we were in the Champions League. But if we had to absolutely dig for some Europa League positives, I think it's the minutes we can give in ways we want to give them to certain players who are maybe younger or have injury issues or whatever. Carl says, what a question. Who would you take as a backup striker? Current Werner or prime Lord Bentner?
No question.
Yes, I agree. I will say, prime Bentner had some moments.
He did.
Equaliser against Spurs, semi-final against Cardiff.
He just talked too much.
Yeah.
What did he say? Something like he's going to be on level with Messi and Ronaldo. That was it for him. When he said that, I just said, mate, I do like confidence, but fuck me, that's more than confidence. That's something else, mate.
iCast is asking me, where's the mystery signing? Look, I don't know. We don't know.
Is this the one Romano was talking about?
Romano was talking about a player that he feels Arsenal working on a wide forward. He thought he had a name. He didn't want to reveal till he was sure. So clearly he's not sure. Arsenal keeping things very in-house. And they're doing Arteta have been very good at doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's just to keep us on our toes.
Yeah, maybe. Gunners Forever said we should go all out for a player like Sane. Arteta knows his style of playing and brings instant impact. Yeah, but I'd love a Sane or a Gnabry or something. But do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think it's likely.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have loved Gnabry this summer, but yeah, it was never likely. And with Sané, the same thing for me. I don't see him leaving Man City to go Bayern Munich and then leaving Bayern Munich to go Arsenal. I just don't see that.
Yeah,
that's not really progression, is it?
No, I agree. Dev says I did 100 metres in 11.28 seconds today. That's good. Well done, Dev.
Yeah, that is quite good.
Yeah, very.
What are you saying? You want to start left wing?
Bratib says 25 million plus 10 million. Perfect bonus for Werner. That'd be up to 40 million we're potentially talking about. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on from the Werner stuff. That Max asks, why haven't we got Tielemans yet? It's annoying me. What's the reason for this transfer taking so long? I just think Arsenal aren't like... How do I explain it? I don't think Arsenal are desperate to do the deal yet. I think there's a little part of Arsenal that's like, you're available on a free next year. Every reporter is saying that the club and the player are kind of aligned in what they want eventually, and that they're happy to be patient. And if certain outgoings, come through, then maybe we go and spend the money. But I don't think they're rushing.
That's what I take from it. I mean, maybe they're trying to get maybe they're trying to get the price down. But listen, if another club becomes interested, then we'll probably lose that, like we've done many times to other clubs. Maybe we're waiting for the season to start and see how it kicks off. We've done that before as well. Albeit we've taken more risk before by buying very little and waiting for the season to start.
Yeah,
but
very true.
We might just be...
At least we got some key business done early. That's one thing I take from this summer. Dale asked, James, what's your view on Man City's interest in Kieran Tierney and Vieira with a fractured foot from international duty? Well, Vieira's back in training, so we may as well go on to that bit of news now. Vieira is back in training, as is Kieran Tierney, as is Tomiyasu. Tierney, I've not seen the links to City. I mean, I saw them a while ago. Whether there are fresh links, I'm not sure. But I want to get these players back on the pitch now. It's time to see Tomiyasu, Tierney. Look, you can't rush these things. We've now actually got the kind of depth that allows you not to rush them. Yeah. But it's a shame for me if they've not got some minutes in pre-season.
No, I agree. But whose name did the super chat mention?
No, it was a comment from that Max. Says Kieran Tierney. Sorry,
Tomiyasu.
Where was it? Oh no, Dale. Kieran Tierney to City.
Yeah, I haven't heard much of that. Plus, listen, Tierney's got his own injury problems. I don't think City will be signing someone they can't rely upon in that position, because that position has been a problem position for a little while now for Manchester City. Not that it's caused much problem for them. They still carry on winning.
Yep.
But I'm sure it's a position that they just want to sort out now once and for all.
Yeah, a problem position for them is, oh, he's not world class.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, we've only got one in that position.
Yeah, one world class player in this position. Oh. Before City fans get on us, that's paying respect to your club. Unbelievable amount of players.
It's a good thing.
2,700 votes, 58-42. It's still edging more to the no. It's as more people vote, it's still more no's than yeses, but still closer than I thought it'd be. Ice says Werner is similar to our strikers. We need now I'm gonna say Yaziki, but it's not pronounced like that. It's Yazika.
Yazaja.
Yeah,
Yazaja. I like Yazaja, but again, I don't think he's. Look, you're right with Werner. Yeah, I think he's still that little. You're right with Werner. He's very similar to the mould we have already in attack, but I think Yazaja is not too dissimilar either. I think I would have been looking at a Schick or a Tony, someone more of a target man, big, can flex a little bit up top.
What a question here from Mr. Cool Chris. He asks, where's the point of a medical? It's not to see if the player is fit to play for the club, so why do we sign injured players such as Vieira? Look at Liverpool, they didn't get Fekir. Yeah, okay, firstly, I think medicals are for general checkups and all things, from, breathing to heart to everything. It's just doing your due diligence on your investment.
It's a health check.
Yeah, it's a health check for the player, and while this might sound like a really horrible way to put it, because they're human beings, it's also it's checking where your money's going a little bit as well. It's like before you buy a house and you get it kind of looked at, you get it checked for all sorts. So I think it's to know what they're getting from that perspective. It's to check that the player's okay and fit, and again, the injuries and recurring injuries, or whatever, they'll want to assess themselves. They'll want to just have this information and data. And I don't think it's a case of, like, when they talk about players, and I play Football Manager, and sometimes you want to buy a player and they tell you he failed a medical. It's actually very rarely like that. It's more, there are concerns, you make a decision on what you want to do about it. With Fekir, clearly Liverpool felt that there were things that they weren't willing to overlook.
With Vieira, it must be that they don't think this injury is an injury that's going to cause much long-term problems for us. So get the player in.
Yeah, if I'm doing a medical for Arsenal, someone runs up to me and punches me in the face, I'm not going to fail the medical because they'll probably...
He's got a black eye.
Yeah, well, I can't play on the weekend, no, but this doesn't happen on a regular basis. You'd be surprised. Jonathan says, why would Werner want to join a non-Champions League team, especially before the World Cup coming up? Because with all due respect, Jonathan, I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, he's not playing at a Champions League level right now. And he'll be looking at, as in performance-wise, and... he'll be looking at wanting regular minutes, and if a club can offer that and it's away from the Champions League, he'll be focused on the World Cup. These players, the World Cup means so much to them. Yeah. And if he thinks he's going to be sixth fiddle to Sterling, Havertz, Pulisic, I've run out of options. Hudson-Odoi, Mount sometimes plays in the front three. They're going to look at another striker. Brozia's there. Then he will look for that move, trust me. Jay Mill says, no links to a right back, I think we need some cover. No, I think this is one Arsenal are happy to put off for another year, and I've got to be honest, with the money we're spending and the level of target we have been looking at, that 30 to 40 million pound player, I'm cool with them addressing this in a year. But as I say it, Tomiyasu's a good player, White can cover, we don't really play with fullbacks that overlap either, they kind of tend to sit narrow. Cedric has done okay, and I think he's okay for another year. Then Brooke Norton-Cuffy, supposedly really exciting. If you can give him Europa League minutes, there's a chance he has a breakthrough. I mean, no one expected Smith Rowe to have the breakthrough he did a year ago, or just over a year ago. So I think that's one they are happy to put aside for a year. You want to address everything. But
it does seem like Ben White's going to be the choice moving into the season. And if not, then it'll be Cedric, and obviously we're waiting on Tomiyasu. So I'd say we're okay in comparison to other positions. I'm not saying we're okay for the next 2-3 years, but going into this season in comparison to other positions, I think right back we can make do without the reinforcements necessary maybe in 12 months' time.
Yeah, Dev says, did you guys watch Fabregas's clip with Wenger? I haven't yet, but I know that there is a kind of documentary coming out where I think it might be Wednesday. There's a kind of like just on Fabregas, which I'm going to watch because I'll be honest, I don't hold this grudge. A lot of people do on him. I love the guy.
It was Wenger's fault.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't want to. Yeah, we didn't want to re-sign him.
Yeah.
And Fabregas was. I mean, he was the player that got me into football. Really, he was. Like
Really,
I
yeah.
was. Yeah, he. And listen, there was Henry before that, and I was watching a bit of Arsenal before that. But Fabregas was just this, kid essentially in an Arsenal team who just played football in a way that, like,
Yeah, it was special. He was special.
it was unique, especially at that time of the game. And actually, I dare say a player like Fabregas is very unique today now. You know, that kind of...
Yeah.
Even your creators have to be up and down, lung busting, all that now. The physical demands have come back into the Premier League, what with the likes of Klopp and all that. But, yeah, I love Fabregas. So I'll be watching that documentary and offering opinions on it.
What was that? Netflix, Amazon? Or just a random?
I want to say Channel 4.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be
I
watching
might
that.
be wrong, guys. Please check that.
I'll be watching
I
that.
want to say that. Or ITV. One of them. Anyway, Mystical Chris says, thanks, James. Honestly, didn't know the process. That's all right. Hope we've answered as best as possible. I don't know. Someone said Amazon. I don't think it is Amazon. It's on ITV Sport Channel. Thank you, obviously, Kieran.
Nice one, Kieran.
But now some people say Amazon Prime. It's going back and forth. Anyway, let's get through the last bits of news. So we mentioned Vieira back in training, Tierney Tomiyasu too. Important they get some game time. Another player who was back in training is Lucas Torreira. I'm told I need to just say what I think, but sometimes I don't like to always just say what I think.
Oh, if you say what you think, you're in the position I am, mate. Deemed negative and deemed... Yeah, not supportive of the club.
Let me open up and say why I don't always just go kind of fully all the way with what I think sometimes, because I'm very aware I've never sat with Lucas Torreira and had a conversation with him and heard his side of what's going on and whatever. I'm fully, and that is always in my mind that you don't know everything, James. But I can't help but feel a frustration towards this whole saga. Does it ultimately impact Arsenal in any way? No. Because we're buying the players we want to buy, we're preparing, and it doesn't have any impact. So why should I care? I just feel a little bit like, the guy's had some good loan moves. It didn't work for him. And I do, by the way, think that Emery used him badly as a box-to-box, and at Sash number 10, that didn't work. And I don't think Arteta really gave him a lot of game time. So I will give him that. But otherwise, he's had a loan move to Atletico Madrid, which didn't really work. Thrived at Fiorentina, but they're not willing to pay what, let's be honest, isn't a particularly steep price for to bring Torreira, a player that they know has done well for them, back. Now, I don't know the details around that, but that just feels strange to me. And we're left with a player who was taken on tour. Rumours are he left the tour and he was posting pictures somewhere else. And I just can't help but just, like, now he's back in training. There's a little part of me that it's like, maybe he's not being offered the opportunity, but maybe fight for your place. Maybe he's tried, I don't know. But it's like, clearly the move's not happening. Why don't you try and force your way back in? Look at El Nenny's return. He was off on loan. Everyone was done with him. And, he ended up playing we didn't go over the line. He ended up playing a pretty crucial part in some key games at the end of last season, and being something that actually people went, you know what, fair play, you can do something. I don't know. I just feel this frustration around Lucas Torreira. Maybe because I actually think there's a player in there. I do. That's probably part of the frustration. But I just think the whole thing's a mess. I just want it sorted. Him and a couple other players, just get those futures sorted, whether it hinders us or not.
Yeah, because it seems that we're waiting for a fee. Rumours are with Bellerin that we're just going to cut ties and let him go wherever he wants to go. But, if we made that decision earlier, I'm sure Bellerin must be on 100k. I'm sure Torreira must be close to that, if not around that.
I don't know.
We've been paying that for maybe a few extra weeks than necessary. We cut ties maybe 4 weeks ago when Real Betis wanted us to with Bellerin, and when Fiorentina wanted us to with Torreira. We would have saved some money in wages, and you've got that section of fan base that loves saving money on wages, like we saw in January. So, we haven't appeased them, but it would have been nice to just done and dusted. I know we need to make some money off them, and like you said, 10 million for Torreira, that's good business for Fiorentina. We're still getting done over in that situation, but the way we've handled business, and if the rumours are to be believed, and we're going to cut ties with Bellerin, it's just another example of, maybe ride it out and Arsenal will just do what's necessary.
Yeah, there's got to come a moment, though, where Arsenal do turn it around and say, listen, Edu described cancelling contracts as an investment, and I'm actually really glad he said that, because I don't know how most people took that. I know his interviews generally were taken well, but I really like the way he worded that, because that's spot on for me. They're investments. We are better off without certain players in and around the squad, so we are willing to spend the money to make that decision and change the overall space, wage bill, environment of the squad, whatever. There's got to come a point where they actually just say, we're going to command fees. And I read a really interesting article, I want to say it was Gunner blog in The Athletic, was saying that, people probably think that when you got, or maybe I listened to it on a podcast, but anyway, they're saying people would probably think that when you got these players whose future lie elsewhere, that they must be troublemakers in the camp or whatever. And from all he knows, they're absolutely not. Mm-hmm. People are there, they're working hard, they're smiling, they're kind of doing their bit. So I'll credit the players for that. But there's a point where Arsenal are going to go, no, we've done our bit. Like, we've done our helping you guys out in the market, trying to buy our players. Now there are fees, and we're not going to.
So let me ask you something. Torreira, Bellerin, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Reece Nelson, Nicolas Pepe.
Yeah.
We've got to keep 2 of those for next season. Which 2 do you keep? Because I don't think we're getting rid of all the players we need to get rid of. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we are.
No, we're not.
I think Pepe's recent comments.
Did you put Reece Nelson in there?
Yeah. So Torreira, Bellerin, Maitland-Niles, Reece Nelson, Pepe.
Maitland-Niles I'd keep.
Okay, that's fine.
Versatility, multiple positions, all that. And probably Reece Nelson, because I still feel there's maybe an untapped potential.
So Reece would be your backup to Saka, let's say.
Yeah. And he can do it, he can definitely do it at the Europa League level. I want to say Pepe, but with Pepe, I feel like you'd command a better fee, and maybe it makes room for a more senior player to come in.
Yeah.
Whereas if you let Reece Nelson go, he's suddenly going, yes, brilliant, room for a winger, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What about you?
It's a tough one, because I think Torreira, in terms of when you look at our midfield and the options we have, he's probably the closest in quality compared to a Reece Nelson to Saka, Pepe to Saka, Maitland-Niles to Tomiyasu or whatever. But I just don't like how soft he's been since coming to the club, and how easily his head was turned, and how he's never really committed to the cause. So I can't say him. I'd probably lean towards. It's mad, but I don't want none of them. I actually don't want none of them. I guess if you're going for a sensible approach, it's probably what you said, Maitland-Niles and either Reece or Pepe.
You know what it is with Maitland-Niles and Nelson is that call me crazy. I still feel like there's something more to get from them. I'm not saying that they're necessarily at the level we need, or that they're going to have a future, all that. I still feel like we've not seen their best. Whereas with some others, I feel like we might have seen their best. Yeah. I don't know. Listen, the point is, space needs to be made at some point. I know we've got the Europa League, but if we're going to get 1 or 2 more incomings, you've got other youngsters, you've got players to come back. We were talking, I keep stressing this, we were talking about that second team, in the first half against Orlando, ended the game against Chelsea, played the behind closed doors friendly the other day. But it doesn't include Fabio Vieira, Smith Rowe, who will, injuries and fitness permitting, will probably be starting most of their games this season in the Europa League group stage as they're getting up to speed. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the super chats and comments. Lakshay says, any update on our mystery signing? Also Bowen or Sane? Yeah, they've both been linked. Sane not for a while, but also very loosely, barely. Probably one Arsenal Twitter made up there.
And they're different wings as well. Yeah, they are. Bowen was mentioned. I just don't see us doing that deal. I don't see why West Ham would do it.
Yeah. Pratim says Torreira and Sandro Martinez in midfield. They've both got that kind of like Alessandro Martinez played in midfield for Ajax, and what I liked about Torreira when he did play in midfield for us, he was really busy. He was everywhere. Yeah. And I almost think that looks good for a fan, but football's moved beyond that. It's like, no, like, yes, you're involved, great, but actually I need you to be here. And, there's a reason why for whatever reason, Emery in his second season didn't want to trust him as the holding midfielder, and Arteta didn't really give him any minutes.
Martinez looks a lot more technical than
Torreira is. I thought Torreira was underrated technically, you know.
He was underrated,
I thought he had an ability to turn around, turn players, beat the press,
when Torreira was at us, I wanted him to be the one collecting off the goalkeeper, defenders, but it was always Xhaka. And for me, Torreira was the more mobile, the more tenacious one. It would have made more sense.
Nippy. You could kind of turn a man under pressure.
Instead, he gets put into number 10, and then he cries and he's out.
Emad says we need 2 incomings: Tielemans / Serhej Milinkovic-Savic and Gakpo or Neto. Listen,
that would be it. Then I'm predicting good things for this season if we get any 2 of those 3. Do you know what I mean? That's hope there.
Yeah. I Want Candy says, despite this year's transfer window success, Werner's got to be the most Arsenal transfer I've ever heard of. I hear what you're saying. All right, guys, we're going to round it up there. We talked about the players back in training, as we mentioned. Torreira is there with the squad. Vieira, Tierney, Tomiyasu as well. I didn't see anything on Smith Rowe. So actually, you guys let me know and put it in the comment section. But of course, that will be all over social media, and we will be finding out. Listen, by this time tomorrow, Arsenal will play another game, so we'll know quite how far the team is in terms of fitness and how they're looking, and hopefully they get a win just to keep adding to the momentum, because pre-season or not, I think people are enjoying that pre-season's been good. I think people are enjoying the fact that when we've been in front of a crowd, audience, TVs, I see Man United fans staying up to watch Arsenal, Chelsea, they're coming away from it going, oh, Arsenal look good. And that is, you want to plant those things in people's minds. As we mentioned, Werner very loosely linked to Arsenal, but you never write anything off. I remember sitting here going, Ramsdale's been linked. I don't know, I can't see that happening, but we've got to talk about it. And people were saying, why we're clickbait, why are you talking about? Suddenly, we brought him in, and I'm loving that we brought him in. And Ben White, I remember thinking, no, surely not.
50 mil,
no way.
We went to Brighton and talked to the wrong player
about it, and here we are. So, what do we know? I suppose we're going to talk about it all, because you never really know what's going to come through. So Werner's been linked. 58% of people saying they would take him in the.
They wouldn't.
Sorry, they wouldn't take him.
Yeah.
It's been a long... I'm still jet lagged. I'm still going to bed at 3 and waking up.
Yesterday I've conked out before Big 6, woke up 10 minutes before it started,
I woke up and I clearly used my phone at 7 a.m. and I couldn't remember using it. Did you ever see it? When did I send that message? And it's something
go back to sleep.
I was just jet lag, my word. But anyway, guys, we're going to round it off there. Remember, we are back with the starting 11 show and full time after the watch along. Is all happening tomorrow. Listen, it's a match day, so we're going to be getting your videos. We're going to be discussing it all. I'm looking forward to seeing Arsenal in action in front of an Emirates crowd again. I can't believe it. Literally feels like a couple of weeks ago. I was just coming back from the Everton game and the 5-1, and we were, chewing the fat of this top 4 race and everything. But we're back at it.
It's next relentless. Week starts again.
Reminds me of that. What was that sketch? Who was it? I want to say something Mitchell. The BBC, the football's on, and he's walking around the pitch. He's like, the football never ends. Have you not seen it? I'm going to show you it later.
I haven't seen it.
Some of you in the comment section will know the one I'm talking about. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Big thank you. See you on the next one.
Love.